Hi everyone, and welcome to a quick and dirty 10-minute training on how state financial aid is going to work at Indiana State University for next fall, 17-18. In February of 17, the Commission for Higher Education is going to be launching a new database that they are fondly referring to as ScholarTrack. We are so excited. Why are we excited? Well, you all remember back in 2013, new legislation passed requiring credit hour completion standards for anybody receiving the 21st Century Scholarship or the Indiana Higher Ed Award, formerly known as the Franco-Banning Grant. We refer to this as the 30-60-90 rule. Well, the good news is the Commission went back and actually did some assessment and found out that ever since that rule was passed, over 60% of 21st century scholars across the state are attempting over 30 hours every year. But unfortunately, only 34% of our scholars are actually earning 30 credit hours every year. So the Commission took the opportunity to pivot and made some quick changes and recommendations to the law. Bottom line is this: in 2017, no more 30-60-90 rule. We are so excited. CHE is now going to require 30 hours earned per year. So instead of a cumulative approach, we're going to take a one-year approach. Well, why are we doing that? It's easier for students to get back on track if they have a bad year, and of course it eliminates administrative confusion with multiple schools reporting multiple hours for the student. The way it's going to work is that schools are going to be asked to report once per term at the end of the term for students that are actually claiming state aid at their institution. Anything previously earned before you attended your institution, such as AP credit, college challenge, transfer hours from another school, is going to go into a bank for the student. And that's going to happen on an ad hoc basis as the student requests. So the student will be able to say, hey, I took some hours at Ivy Tech back in 1998. I need to upload my own transcript, fill the gaps with my 30-hour requirement to make sure that I'm staying on track at Indiana State. So here's an example. A student completes 10 hours in year 1, 30 hours in year 2. At the old model, his aid would be canceled after his year 1 and again not renewed for his third year because he only has 40 cumulative hours and he was supposed to have 60. Remember, 30, 60, 90 after 2 years. In the new model, his aid would be renewed after his second year because he did earn his 30 hours. So even though he's not at 60 overall, he still got his 30, so he'll be able to get aid in year 3. Another example, here's a student who completed her 30 hours in her first year but then took a second year off. In the old model, state aid is canceled after her first year and she won't get it again her second year because she only has 30 cumulative hours. She's not on her 30-60-90 track. In the new model, her aid gets renewed because the last time she got paid state aid, she actually earned her 30 hours. Even though she's not at 60 overall, she met her 30 requirement, she'll be able to get aid in year 3. What does this mean for schools? I already mentioned that colleges are not reporting local hours earned or cumulative hours, anything about transfer hours, nothing from the FAFSA, nothing from the admissions transcript or enrollment start date. We're just going to ask for, we're going to upload data at the end of every term or as requested by the Commission, and if students are having difficulty getting to college to report hours, they can request their own transcript. How are they doing that? ScholarTrack. ScholarTrack is a new state aid database that's coming out in February of 2017. It combines all the payment systems, CHIPS, eStudent, all into one integrated database that has a real-time data sync. So as soon as an award is created, an appeal is approved, a payment is made, anything is reconciled, that will be updated real-time in the new ScholarTrack system. The three systems no longer have to talk to each other. The other beauty is that the payment timeline is only 1 week. Professional judgments are acceptable of all shapes and sizes, so income changes, legal guardianship, emancipated minor, dependency override, we'll be able to submit those all throughout the new ScholarTrack database, and it will sync in the awarding side. And instead of having to use social security number to search for a student, you can now look up by name. CHE reports that 17-18 ISers are being loaded now, and they're on track to meet their February 6th launch date. They're planning to roll this out at the ISFA conference at the end of January so that staff will be able to see the live version with live student data. We have been given access to a beta version, so this is an example of what the beta version of ScholarTrack will look like. You'll be able to drill down at the student level and actually view individual student records, so you can see the year that you're looking at over multiple years. You can see which ISER they're paying on. You can see any communications that the Commission has had with the student, so they're going to be able to manage things like award letters, appeal decision letters. That's all going to be uploaded within this database. We'll also be able to see their top school choice, where they are in their Scholar Success Program, which I'll share with you details on that in just a moment, and of course award status, which you don't see on this screenshot, but it will be there. Schools will also be able to report credit completion within the same system that they're using to manage awards. That's new for us. We're super excited about this. We can do it by uploading a CSV file, so it'll be an actual spreadsheet that we upload, and we'll be able to do that on a timestamp basis, so as things change, we'll be able to upload additional entries. The other beautiful thing is on the reconciliation side, you can do it on the per student level or you can upload it in batch. We'll be able to claim, evidently, as soon as awards are generated. So if we want to claim money in August, we'll be able to do that. Now at ISU, we typically don't claim anything until after our census date, just in case the student's enrollment status changes. We don't want to jeopardize their eligibility at another school, so we don't claim usually until September. But the good news is we might be able to see payments actually starting as early as September. Hooray for ISU. I also wanted to mention that the Commission has also announced that they are planning on making awards in July this year for fall 2017. So the General Assembly is on a 2-year appropriation cycle, so we probably won't have actual dollar amounts or real appropriations until after the General Assembly votes in June, which means that the Commission won't be making awards until July. That's okay, though, because we're still going to be able to make preliminary award offers to students starting as early as March for incoming freshmen and as June for incoming returning students, and be able to get those onto their portal so they at least know where they stand. Again, those final awards are going to be subject to credit completion requirements. It won't be flipped to live awards until mid-July, but the exciting news that we'll be way ahead of previous years where sometimes we haven't gotten that information until September. One more exciting thing for 2017 is a high school scholar success program that the Commission is rolling out for 21st Century Scholars. We fondly refer to this as a 12-step program. The changes this year, the first 3 things that I list here are all not new, that began in fall of 2016. So 21st Century Scholars have to earn a final high school GPA of at least a 2.5. They have to finalize their FAFSA by March 10th. And new this year, make sure your edits are complete by May 15th. In some cases, make sure your verification is complete by May 15th. We've seen students who went through verification, their EFC dropped in July, but the Commission was not able to load that additional ISER record because the EFC was not finalized by May 15th. So this year we're trying to do some targeted outreach to make sure that students understand they need to do either data retrieval and get their final income information uploaded in their FAFSA so they can expedite that verification process, or they need to get their stuff in before May 15th. Really, really important for freshmen. There's also a needs qualification test. Your EFC has to be lower than around 24,000. That number is based on the maximum cost of attendance at any Indiana public school. Last year it was IU Bloomington for 24,800. We're anticipating that number won't really change a lot this year, so as long as students have a lower EFC than that number listed there, they should be okay to qualify for their 21st Century Scholarship. And then new this year, 12 steps to making scholar success. So as you can see in 9th grade, this ranges everything from watching YouTube videos to 12th grade actually filing your FAFSA, visiting college campus, job shadowing, etc. These are reported by high school guidance counselors on behalf of the student in the Scholar Track program. And as soon as those live ISER data points are loaded, we as school administrators will be able to see where incoming freshmen are in their Scholar Success program as well. We have not been given a demo yet on how that will look, but we are hoping to be able to see that at our ISFA conference. Lingering questions, things that we're still not really clear about so we can kind of gear up for fall 17 processing. We know that we're planning on loading our award files directly into Banner so that we can track changes over time. That's been very challenging for us this year because we're uploading directly from XGrads to making live awards. This will help us actually timestamp the files that we receive from the Commission so that we can know if something changes. That way we can communicate to the student and also make sure we're reconciling appropriately. We also don't currently get updated information on any bulk files that tell us anything about CVO lifetime usage or usage at other schools. Really hoping that the Commission includes that in their new data file layout. They said they really like that idea, but they haven't actually implemented that yet, so I'm really hoping that they can put that money to good use and show us whether that student has hit their 124 hours for CVO. Again, that big black hole about what happens if an EFC changes after verification is completed, and that happens after May 15th. That's something that hasn't really been communicated very well to students, and it can be very frustrating for someone who doesn't get a tax transcript until August, and turns out they missed out on money because they didn't know they had an arbitrary deadline. We're really going to push Commission hard on making sure that they understand the implications of that timing and that short turnaround time. We're also hoping that we can advocate to get our payment file to match to our claim file. The reconciliation file is actually changing. The layout is completely changing. They're no longer having a reconciliation file and a payment file. It's going to be a new composite claim file that schools have to report specific data points on, and then we'll receive information as we draw down payments from the Commission. We're really hoping that those things match so that we can actually track student by student who's getting money. And we are radio silent on how money return works for the 16-17 years for students who have conflicting information across 2 different aid years for prior year FAFSA. Those are fondly known as 399 codes. We're really hoping for some guidance on what to do in case we do have to load an EFC that changes retroactively. That's all for now. Thank you for listening, and have a fabulous January.